Hello. I'm going to be talking about outreach specifically for muralists. If you follow me for quite some time, you would know that I am all about outreach. And if you took my masterclass, you know that my preferred method is probably Facebook. But in saying that, like, I travel full time. I need clients quickly and in different location. And I just find that worked for me. But I was very, very, very curious about how to do this properly via email. Therefore, I tried to find like an expert in it, and that was Phoebe. So I took Phoebe's outreach webinar, I think was called, a while ago now. Like, we're probably looking over half a year ago. And it was so validating and it was so inspiring, and I was a bit shocked about a couple of things, but I'm gonna bring her on so she can tell me what she thinks of the experiment I ran the only time I did like outreach with emails very intentionally. Hi everyone, I'm gonna bring on Phoebe from Pandra. If I can manage. Let's give Instagram a moment to realize what I'm asking it to do. Go live. Hi! It's so exciting to be talking with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. How's it going?
Yeah, really, really good. It's morning here. What time is it over there?
It is 5 o'clock, so time for a cocktail.
Yay, I love that. Well, I'm drinking coffee here, but I'm cheering you in spirit. This is so exciting. So I have so many questions for you, and I love that I started these Instagram lives because I'm realizing it's just gonna give me the opportunity to ask my favorite artists all those questions that are sitting there. So I took your outreach webinar maybe like 6 months ago. Do you
Nice.
do these often?
Yeah, I do different topics, so every couple months do something different. But I've done the outreach one a couple of times.
Yeah, it's definitely very popular. I feel like artists really need to learn how to do that more. And I have a question to start off. Why Pandra? Can you explain me your name, your
Yeah,
business name? I'm super
pander
curious.
means to gratify, so just to take on that, gratify my clients and make their walls beautiful.
Nice, love that. I love that. So you're based in California, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in Southern California, San Diego.
Wonderful. But you travel globally. Is that
Yeah, so I actually do have two murals in Australia, but that's kind of the extent of international. I would love to do more. And I just did a project in Montreal, but it was a freestanding piece, so it moves around.
that's cool actually.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Australia? Maybe I'm gonna
Yeah,
see them.
yeah. I have one in Melbourne at a co-working space and
Hmm.
one at a distillery in Tasmania.
Oh, no way. I was there on Easter.
Oh, nice.
I spent 2 months in
Where,
Tasmania.
where are you
Oh,
currently?
that's so cool. I am now, well, now I'm in the middle of nowhere in Western Australia. I'm painting a project on some water tanks, and it's a returning client, but I'm literally like 9 hours from the coast on the west
Wow.
of Australia. So this is a town of 64 permanent residents. But hey, they got money for murals, and I've been here. I painted 3 walls here already last Christmas,
Wow.
and they asked me for a quote for the water tank. So here in Australia, the big murals bring in a lot of tourism. So it's a very popular way of revamping a town that needs a little bit more stuff going on. They definitely have a lot going on now. This is high season, so there are probably like 100 people in the caravan park. People come here to look for
Whoa.
gold. Yeah, they're like prospectors looking for gold and other things. So a lot of lots of quirky people. Funny enough, I even found some clients like that from other parts of Australia. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are we all doing here? This is so odd. It's like a glitch in the matrix or something.
Oh my
Anyway.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so next questions. I have like a whole list of questions for you, but
Let's
I'll
do it.
try not to. Um, so why did you choose to get very good at email marketing and cold emailing? Like, obviously, there are a lot of ways to do outreach, but why emails?
Well, so I actually worked with a business coach early on in my career, and that's the way I was taught to do it. And I saw results. So yeah, why mess with something that works really well?
That works.
Yeah. And I also do find it to be professional versus, over DMs or something like that's fine and it can work, but I've had better response rate, and I think people, um, take you more seriously when it's over email.
Yeah, that's true. I try to usually redirect people back to
Right.
my inbox eventually as soon as they become serious clients. Um, okay, so can you tell me a little bit about your process?
Yes. So at this point in my career, I've been doing this for 8 years. I have a really good idea of who is my target client, although I'm always learning about, possible new industries from watching my peers. Who knew that water tanks could be so popular? And so I mean, sometimes that'll spark an idea, and I'm like, oh, I should try this industry or that industry. So it's a constant learning, thing that I'm adapting and changing. But I like to target, anyone who has the money and has the wall space. So, from my experience, I've had a lot of positive interactions with, real estate developers, that are coming in and developing something from either scratch, or they are, fixing up a place, an existing location. So that's been really great. And that also includes shopping malls, breweries, distilleries. That's exactly how I got that job in Tasmania, is from cold outreach.
Okay.
So yeah, like no one in Tasmania knew who I was. Like I had to,
Yeah.
introduce myself. So there's a lot of that, and, co-working spaces, etc. So yeah, anyone with real estate and the wall space, and they value art, and people are gathering, um, whether that be like for an Instagram moment to help bring in customers, or they have an office space that they want to make fun and beautiful for everyone that's working out of there every day. Each industry is going to have different goals, but, when you're reaching out, you can explain that to them, that you can help solve that problem. You're a problem
Yeah,
solver.
I was about to say that. So you're pointing out that you're going to solve their problems. I find like that helps so much because murals are already like a very compulsive emotional buy,
Mhm.
and you need to justify, you need to help them see how that's going to actually bring value to their
Right.
business or their homes sometimes. Yeah, it's definitely easier. So you obviously build databases, right? So do you use any particular software to do that, or do you have, just like me, crazy spreadsheets in Google Sheets sitting there cold with crazy names every time?
Yeah, I've definitely done it that way. I also, well, yeah, at this point, I just like HubSpot. It's what I've gotten used to, and that's my program that I do everything in. There's a million different CRM platforms that you can use. That's just what I learned and I'm comfortable with now. Um, yeah, and I have my different templates ready to go, so I don't have to think of a new thought of like what to say for each client or each company I'm
Yeah.
reaching out to. It's pretty set, and I can just like tweak this word or that word to make it feel like a little bit more custom.
Yeah, sounds really how it's supposed to be. So I also work with a business coach, and she always goes on about how your email list is the only thing you really own. Like your social media can get shut down tomorrow for
Right.
as far as we all know. And that way you just lose access to all these potential clients. But if you start working on your own database, that's like that's why hackers steal your data, right? It's because it's so valuable,
Right.
like to have that information. But when we are talking about databases, how big? So I remember actually when I was on your webinar, I was shocked when you said how many emails you sent a week.
Yeah.
I was like, how does she do that? So do you mind sharing like the numbers we're looking at?
Yeah, it definitely varies based on how busy I am. To be very honest, I haven't done outreach like in the last 2 weeks or so, so it's not always consistent. Um,
Okay.
but when I'm not painting, I try to send 1,000 a week if I can.
Wow.
Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on how much TV I'm watching, and I can just sit there
Mhm.
and go at it. Oh, I also wanted to clear up too, like I also have a separate database, I guess, for because I kind of have two different like customer bases. So I sell products as well to, for the webinars and everything.
Yeah.
So that's like, product based stuff that I have, and I have in my MailChimp world. And then
Yeah.
HubSpot is all of my targeted
Mural.
mural clients. So I won't put them in the same, like I won't be emailing them the same thing because obviously
Yeah,
they're
of
two
course.
different issues. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I actually like how you have two different systems because I'm in that stage where the need arose to start teaching people just because of too many messages. I was planning to start offering some sort of coaching services at the end of my lab and at the
Mm-hmm.
end of my 100 mural project, but I could just not deal with the amount of messages asking for help. So I started like first offering consult sessions. Then I realized that pretty much half of them were about outreach. So I did like an outreach webinar. Then I realized that there are people that want to start from the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
and it kept adding on. And now I have this mailing list, and I feel so awkward about sending them stuff because I'm just not used to have that. So I'm trying really to upskill myself to provide like yeah, just great value. It's nice to hear that there is someone else out there doing it and loving it. Um, well, so I tried, so I decided to follow your lead,
Yeah.
and for the sake of my students as well, I like being able to give them information about things that I've tried.
Right.
Otherwise, I feel like I'm not being honest. So I'm moving all the time, and I find like email outreach is a little bit too slow for me, like being on the move. But
Right.
after Tasmania, we decided to go back visit family on the East Coast, and I thought, oh, this is a great time. I wasn't supposed to paint; I was supposed to rest and visit friends and
That's
family.
how it
But
always
you
is.
know, yeah. But I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to email 200 schools and see what's going to happen. I thought, that's going to be a great experiment. And so I cheated a little bit. I didn't put together the database myself. I have a husband that has databases for schools
Hey,
ready to go.
we love that.
Yeah, so I actually asked him to give me all the school emails that he has, but I went even deeper than that. I was like, I don't want public schools because they take too long to make decisions. I want only the private schools, the schools with the money and decision makers that, are a little bit faster. So I'm going to read to you a little bit the results. So I sent the email actually via his email address because he has like an email tracker connected like from Google. So we actually saw the results of everything. I suppose you have this when you send emails, like you see how many people open them.
Yeah, via HubSpot. Yes.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, this is just like add-on to email. So first of all, I have like a sales deck presentation, which I remember you talking about too. So that's super handy. And I personalized it to schools. I was able to do that because by now I have like a great portfolio just of like schools. So I was like, sure, I'll just put all of these in there. I even like targeted the testimonials on it just from the testimonials that I got from other schools and
Yeah.
similar venues. And pretty much my first email, I try to keep it short and sweet, but it's a bit harder when I have to explain that I'm mural nomad and I do the 100 murals and I'm a bit in a rush. So it kind of went like, dear school, my name is blah. I'm a traveling muralist specializing in bright murals. I'll be in Brisbane and available to work from this date to this date. So I tried to create a sense of urgency, which I think was good. And then I'm like, I didn't attach the PDF to the email, but I created like a button that they could press and it would open like a separate page with the thing. So I was like, by clicking the button, you can see a quick presentation that explains why murals can elevate a learning environment and walls at your school. And pretty much then I asked them to kindly help me to send this email to the decision maker.
Right.
So that was actually an artificial intelligence suggestion. Like I've been playing a little bit with OpenAI, and I was like, how can I, ask kindly in an email for someone to help me to pass on? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very hard to find the email address to the decision maker.
Yeah.
So do you use generic addresses as well, like when you email businesses?
Yes, and I forget the plugin I have now. I do have a plugin that like scans the website. I don't really know how it works. It scans the website and it does show it depends website to website who includes what, but like the CEO, the blah blah blah, like each position, and then you can click.
Yeah,
like you only get a certain amount of credits for free, and you can click the credit, and then it'll show you. Obviously, sometimes like with smaller companies, they're not all going to be on there, but that has been helpful. I need to DM it to you because I can't remember it right now.
Yeah, I have it probably written. I remember you showing it on the webinar, so I probably have it somewhere in the notes.
Yeah.
I think there is something similar for LinkedIn as well. Like I used to work in corporate and in sales, and they gave us access to LinkedIn Pro. And oh my God, that was so good. It was just giving you all the information, telling you who are the people that are worth talking to, who are the people that respond out of those. Like it was really, really handy. And I think if you choose to take sales seriously, there are tools for it. Like we are not the first people trying to get clients out there in the world.
Yeah.
Like I find artists being a bit funny when they just refuse to apply business the same way that anybody else does. I always tell my students, look, in companies, there are departments. There is a marketing department, there's a sales department, and there's a production department. Like when you are an artist that sells artwork, if you only focus on creating artwork, you are only like acting as the production department. You have to set aside time to be the marketing team and to be the sales team. Otherwise, like you're not going to keep bringing in money to support the entire office, So anyway, like going back to the emails, I sent that one. So it went to, so I sent it on the 12th of May at 7:30 in the morning. And it went to 171 emails. So I have a couple of bounced emails. Now, of these 171, I got 52 opens, 19 PDF views, and only 5 clicks through my website. Okay. So it was 30% opening rate. And now to give even more details, of these people that opened it and viewed, one person opened it 15 times, one person opened it 24 times. A lot of people open it between 1 and 4, and a bit less people open it between 5 and 7. So they probably like reshared that email internally that many times. That's the way my husband told me to look at it. Is this a good opening rate? Like I think
so.
Okay, good, 30%. Nice. That's I like to hear. However, I had 0 emails back. But then I didn't get discouraged. I remember that Phoebe said in her webinar that the follow-up, it's what usually gets you the jobs. So I was like, okay, I still got time. I did my follow-up 4 days later. Was that too late?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. So meanwhile, I was distracted seeing friends and family I
Yeah.
haven't seen for a year, and then I was like, shit, I should send a follow-up. So I didn't really know what to write as a follow-up email. So I just kind of assumed that they probably haven't seen my first email. So
Mhm.
I was just like, hey, I called it out. So the title, guys, of my first email was Vibrant Art Opportunity for Your School.
Like it.
So I was kind of like, yeah, nice. I find it very tricky to come up with
Yeah.
names.
Yeah, it's hard. I really try to pay attention to what I open, like what spam emails trick me into opening it, and then you're like, oh man, it's spam. I thought it was real.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
they say they
Uh,
say emojis in the subject line are more likely to be opened, but I also, now that I know that, I pay attention to the brands that send emojis to me. I'm like, they're trying to trick me.
yeah, I don't fall for emojis. I find it unprofessional,
Yeah.
but probably because I come from
Right.
corporate, so I just don't take it seriously. I'm like, it's probably offers. They probably want me to spend money. I don't do.
Yeah.
I avoid
It's
them.
all it's all
I also
psychology. It's crazy.
It really is. So yeah, this one was just like vibrant art opportunity for your school, and the second one I literally called it follow up underscore like vibrant art opportunity for your school. So I was like, it's boring like that.
Whatever.
And
Yeah.
then I literally wrote, I hope this email finds you well. In case you missed my previous email, my name is PJ. I'm from Mural Nomad, and this is what I'm offering. So I kind of just like rolled on that one.
Mhm.
Now, the second email, I decided to send it the afternoon. So I'm big on experimenting and trying different things and seeing what works, including with this live. I'm actually very excited to see that there are so many people online at this time. I
Yeah.
did the other one in the afternoon. But so I sent this one on the 16th of May at 3:16 p.m., which in Australia is just like around the pick-up time. So kids are starting to go home around that time. So maybe teachers are a little bit more available to look through emails and stuff. I got one unsubscribed straight away. I feel someone like got both emails and was like, nope, not interested. But the other people didn't. And I like how you said, like, it's not a no until it's a no, guys.
Yeah.
Like, if these guys are not saying, please stop sending me emails, keep them in your database. That means that in 3 months, maybe like you can send it again. Do you reuse your databases often?
With yeah, I should be better about it, honestly. I it's been rare for me to come back to people, but I should. I yeah, I'd say after a year or something I have.
I feel like a year is definitely like they've probably forgotten all
Yeah.
about you. But here in Australia, the way I see it is, we have times a year where people are more keen to spend money. Like at the end of the financial year, a lot of people have some budget left to
Yeah.
do stuff, and at the beginning of the calendar year, sometimes a little bit more like new year, new us, let's get a mural type of thing.
Mhm.
Or at least that's what I found. A lot of people were complaining there was no work last January. I make the biggest month ever last January,
It's
so like
Isn't that
can't
funny?
figure.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Also, to your point, like sometimes people will say, I can't handle this email right now, or we have no budget right now, but bug me next spring. I will put it on my calendar to reach out to that person. Like I'll put it on I have a pipeline for all the clients and everyone I'm working with each month. Like I'll go ahead till March 2024, and I'll say reach back out to, and then put their email, so I don't
Yeah.
lose that. Because I'm like,
Yeah,
I will bother you.
yeah, count on me. I'll show up in your DMs again, in your email again. I do that with my calendar for sure. I like when people do that. Like they're hot leads. They're like, I really want it. I just can't afford it right
Right.
now. And I'm like, I'll circle it back. Don't you worry. So this email, got the one unsubscribed, but it got opened 56 times. So just like a couple of times more than the other one. It got the same amount of PDFs view, or like one less, and the same amount of clicks on my website. But the interesting thing here was that the person I ended up working for emailed me out of this one, so I got a job. But this person has not opened the first email. So if I haven't emailed it again, I would have never landed this client. So
Yeah.
I thought that that was very interesting. Also, my PDF got opened by their school 194 times,
Wow.
yet they didn't go on my website. So I thought that really proves how important sales decks are. Like if you have all the information that matters in a pretty presentation, I find it hard to believe they didn't go on my website from it. They probably still did somehow,
Yeah.
but they really loved looking obviously at my PDF, which was so cool to see because I put a lot of time into it, and then I was like, is this even worth it? Like, they can read this on my website. There is more information on my website, but I think that's sometimes the problem. Like people need packaged information that speaks to them. And I find support materials, I'm all about support materials. I have PDFs for every
Everything.
step of my client's journey. Like every time they send me questions like, oh, is this really gonna look like your mock-up? I'm like, I have a PDF showing mock-ups versus final murals. Here
That's
we
really
go.
smart. That's really smart. Totally.
Yeah, so I teach my students that I don't know if it's like I know it's not for everyone, but I am a bit of a control freak. I'm also tired of repeating myself, and you probably get that too. So as soon as I say something twice, it goes into templates and it usually has
There you
like a
go.
supported PDF to go with it. Um, okay, so this person like messaged me back. Honestly, I got two responses back from the second, from the follow-up. One was from a school that was so far away that I decided to massively overcharge. Like I told, my pricing is on the higher end only. Usually I give two
Right.
options, whereas for them, because we were back in the city and here in Australia, cities are very far apart from each other, and I haven't lived in a city for quite some time, and I didn't want to sit in traffic for like 3 hours to make it from south side to north side. So they straight away responded, no, okay, we can't afford that. So that lead was gone. But then this guy was really keen. So I made a solid couple $1,000s out of
Yay.
sending two emails. And so I asked my husband how long would have taken him to put together this email list if he were to do it from scratch. Because to me, time is money, and I find my clients on Facebook, and it's like a 3 minutes post. I know exactly what to write to get my ideal client, and it takes me 2 minutes to copy and paste, and maybe it takes me another 5 minutes to find the right place to post it if I don't have it
Yeah.
already. And then I get like leads and leads and leads flowing. So I find like the deal very quick. Whereas to build a whole database, I'm trying to do it like as a side thing, like every day or every time I do admin, I try to keep adding to my email, and every time I hit 100, I'll send an email. So this
Yeah.
system works for me. But he said that if I was to put together these 200 emails at the rate that he does it now, which I assume is kind of what you do because you're an expert in it, it would have taken him only 2 hours.
Mhm.
Does that sound right to you?
Yeah,
Like a
I'd
200?
say, yeah, I think that sounds about right. Depending on how
Okay.
many breaks you take.
So, and since you said that you don't really email the same people, like the question I get from my students is like, is there that many people out there that I can keep sending like 500, 1,000 emails a week and don't run out of people to email?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, right? I think the
How
way to
many
look
people
at it
are
is,
on this planet? There's so many businesses out there. Like, and yeah, you just have to open your mind to what's like how many businesses there really are out there. And as we said, like there's so many different industries that want murals. And not just murals too. Like if you do any other kind of art, like there's so much to offer, so much work out there. We just have to go looking for it.
that is so good to hear because I get occasionally the nasty comment. Here in Australia, there are not that many artists that offer services like you do. In America, like I follow so many of you girls, especially girls that have like great resources. Like I started painting murals only 2 years ago, and I was drowning in questions, and I wanted to do it professionally straight away because, we're asking for a lot of money for this
Yeah.
service, and not coming across professional is it's starting you already off on a bad foot. And I was trying to find information and I really struggled. I was lucky enough to have mentors that felt comfortable replying questions about money and stuff, but I wanted more and I felt weird asking them. So I'm totally that type of person. Like I want to pay a mentor. I want to pay a teacher. Like give me your brain. Like can I ask you things? And I found you and that was good. But I get sometimes the nasty comments here, funny enough, from guys mostly, and they're like, "Oh, you're building an army of competitors. What are you doing? Giving away all the tricks of the industry?" And I'm like, dude, there's so much work out there. Like the clients I'm finding myself, they don't even know they want a mural until they see my offer.
Yeah.
So it's not like there are only three people out there that want a mural and I'm stealing them for
Right.
everyone or teaching my students how to steal them. So it's so nice to hear that there is so much work. And you would probably know that businesses open all the time. People
Mhm.
move houses all the time. Like we tend to forget how the turnover of these things.
And I mean, bad for the planet, but the population is multiplying. There's going to be only more and more and more people and businesses and residential projects to do. So, yeah, that they're coming from a real scarcity mindset, which
Yeah.
I get if you're not feeling financially stable. Like I understand that being scary, but we're also sharing how to go out there and find clients, so it's helping everyone. It's really a silly argument.
Yeah, thank you. Um, and speaking of that, so you've been doing it for eight years, is that correct? Like as a professional muralist, have you seen any changes, like particular changes in the industry? Or I keep hearing that murals are getting more popular. Is that a thing that you noticed?
Oh, for sure. Like I don't remember there being like this many of us on the Instagram. But yeah, like I don't see that as a negative at all. I think it's great for all of us. I think it would be amazing if every business, when they open their doors, like you had to have a mural. If that's how I think of, I don't know if you've ever heard of Wynwood Walls. It's an area of Miami and it's just like covered in murals.
Hmm.
And it's now basically it's an unknown rule. Like if you go into the space and you don't have a mural, you don't commission an artist to paint a mural for you, you're kind of the outsider. And I would love if just the whole
Oh,
planet was like that. Um,
that's so cool.
yeah, yeah. And then I'm sure there's other cities like that, but that was the main place that I've noticed in my travels. Um, but yeah, so a lot more muralists out there, a lot more, but a lot more information as well. Like when I was starting out, there was nothing. So it was a lot of trial and error and yeah, DMing people and asking questions. And it's nice that there's so many resources available amongst like a ton of people now. So yeah, I think it
I
just keeps
think
getting better and
I
better.
Yeah, I think it adds value also. Like, if everyone starts out professional straight away, like, it's gonna give us a good name. If everyone price correctly straight away, it's gonna keep the industry standards good and healthy. And I think if everyone learns how to use the right materials and doesn't cut costs and quality of murals, we're gonna have more long-lasting murals, and therefore people are not gonna be afraid of getting one. Um, Here, funny that you say about the mandatory like commission to the artist. Here in Western Australia, they have a rule for new buildings where if you build like a new complex or like a shopping center, you have to spend like
Yeah.
I don't want to be lying, 15% or something in art
Yes.
commissioned by local artists. So I found that was so cool, but I haven't heard about that in other states, just here in Western Australia. So I thought that was the fact that the building industry is making this so important gives me, really high hopes for the future. Like I know I'm in the right industry for the
Right.
next decade or so.
Right.
That's really
Yeah,
exciting.
I think there's a similar thing in California.
Wow, that is so good to hear. And do you have a van? Did you recently get like
Yeah. I got a truck.
That's so cool. Can you tell me more about why this is like life-changing for you? What were you traveling in before?
I was traveling in a Kia Soul, which is like a little baby car, and it did the trick. It treated me well. Definitely had a lot of paint spills in there, and yeah, it was just tough for putting scaffolding. The only way I could travel
Yeah.
scaffolding is by putting it on my roof rack, which isn't the easiest thing to load up by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So now that I can just put it in the bed of the truck, it's yeah, so much easier.
Yeah, fair enough. That's so exciting. Congrats.
Thank you.
And I like being honest with people about earnings as well, because I feel
Mhm.
like you can't possibly know if you wanna even try to be a muralist if you don't realize how much money this can
Yeah.
potentially bring to the table. I was shocked that in my first year as a muralist, I remember when I went full time. I went full time in 3 months, but it was out of almost necessity. Like I had a lot of demand, and I could just not justify keep driving to an office for a part-time
Yeah.
job when I was making, double that money a day as a muralist. So I
So
decided
cool.
to just go full time. But the first year as a full-time muralist, I made like legally and officially over 80,000, just over $80,000.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and that was great. I was like, oh my God, this is more than I did in corporate. Like that was a
Yeah.
shocker. Did you find that too? Like, do you have good ears?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the most I was making, I worked in-house as a graphic designer. It's kind of crazy, only for 3 years, I guess, right out of college. And the most I was making was, I think, 46,000
Mm-hmm.
US. And then not my first year in muraling or working for myself, I don't think I was maybe making the same, but I've worked up to, it's varied year to year. Actually, 2021 was um, my best year revenue wise. And I
Okay.
can't remember what I paid myself that year. I also had a business partner up until last year. So this is my first year solo. So together, the two of us made $725,000 in
Wow.
2021. Um, we paid ourselves something over 100K, and then last year was 130K, and this year I believe I'm on track to hit 450,000 in revenue.
Nice.
And I pay myself differently each month based on revenue. So yeah, I'm on track to do over 100K this year, though.
Have you guys heard this? Like, there is no way you would ever get this much money working for someone else.
No.
Not to mention, like, we have so much fun going to work, right? Like, or did you get over it after 8 years or not yet?
Well, my body is slowly crumbling. It's a manual labor is tough, guys. So
Mm,
definitely charge accordingly. And I mean, it's not for everyone. Working for yourself is not for everyone. I don't want to glorify it for everyone who like it's not
no.
their thing. And we do work our asses off. Like you just said, like it's really hard to take vacation and all the things, but I love it. I still am in love with it. Um, I might die falling off a ladder, but I do love what I do. And yeah, the money is great.
Yeah, I find that, yeah, I am lucky. I suppose that I am very passionate about business. I didn't realize that
You
until I started
are
working.
you are so
Oh,
impressive. Yeah, your
thank you.
business skills. I'm like, she's got the stats.
Ah, It was, it's good. It helps me. My brain
Yeah.
needs like things to bounce off. But I studied business when I came here to Australia. So I moved to Australia by myself when I was about 19, and I had to go through the visa like as a student, and I studied English, then I studied business, and then I started working for this place like essentially in business. So I I fine-tuned those skills, but it was a very abstract concept when I was studying it, and it was still a bit of an abstract concept when I was working for a big corporate because they have their own systems, and it kind of feels like it only works for them. and it's not even what you've learned from books. But then when I started running my own business, I was like, oh my God, this now
Light bulb,
makes
like,
so
yeah.
much sense. Yeah, and you can apply it to everything. And I do agree, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone, and it takes a level of dedication that I think you can't really pretend to have. You either get a high of it or you
Right.
don't. Like it's not. And you have to be very good at time management, I think. That's
You have to be good at so many things. It's like
so many things.
yeah, we wear so many hats, and you have to be confident. You can't let like, one unsubscribe email get you down. Because if you quit after that, you wouldn't have gotten that job. And that's
Yeah.
literally like how it is for forever and ever.
Yeah, and outreach, like I find I still love having the one-on-one sessions with artists. It's really not the most lucrative part of my business, but I feel like I get so much out of them, and I love helping people. And I love hearing the insights of their business. We're also different, and we also so comfortable at different things. Like I have one student that's just killing it at walk-ins. Like anywhere she
Wow.
goes, she gets the wall. It's just ridiculous. And other people that are very good, like, at talking themselves up at public events, and then they get old jobs, like months worth of work from, selling art at the markets and just finding the mural clients at the markets. Like
Wow.
it's so clever. But where I was going with this, that a lot of people though that come for a one-on-one with me, like when I ask them, I have this question, which is how many hours of outreach do you do a week or a month? And they just go, I don't do outreach. And I'm like, how are you even in business? Like, which is amazing that, if they still get work, it's phenomenal. And that makes me wonder, like, if you're already getting jobs without looking for them, imagine how much work you will get if you do go look for it. Like,
Right.
yeah. Do you get a lot of questions? Like, what are the questions you get the most out of your students?
Oh, yeah, they're all over the board. I mean, a lot of people just have anxiety about setting up their business correctly and making sure they're not breaking a million rules. And yeah, just ask. There's honestly, they ask a lot of questions just to like postpone getting started. There's just
Yeah.
a fear of starting. And if you don't have, especially women, if you don't have everything laid out perfectly, then you're doomed for failure, which I'm more like just start and you'll figure it out along the way. And then if you get a notice down the road that you were supposed to file some business certificate here, then you'll pay a late fee or something,
Yeah.
you learn as you go, and that's the fastest way to do it.
I don't know if you have the same tax rules in America, but like my first problem was that I started making so much money so quickly that I realized in after 2 months that I was already owing money to the taxation office. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get on top of this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I started like really teaching myself like how much money I have to set aside, when to pay it. And so now like part of the Thriving Muralist program, which is really just like a condensed 6 week where I decided to give just everything because I'm so bad at holding back, but I can't deal with just a billion
Yeah.
messages with people all the time. So I was like, I'll just give you everything. I'll give you a copy of my proposals, I'll give you contracts, I'll give you all the legal details. And it goes very in depth, particularly for Australia. But I find that a lot of people are like, oh my God, thank you for explaining this.
Right.
Because it's just a basic of business that not just artists, like guys, it's not just us, like people in general, we don't get taught this at school. Nobody teaches us
Yeah.
how to manage our money and how to run business correctly and legally. There are a lot of resources, but they all like spread out, and you always have questions and wonder, does this apply to me? Do you operate as a how do you say, sole trader here, or do you have a company?
Yeah. So technically, I'm an employee of PNDR. So
Okay.
I'm what they call an S corp. And I was just talking to your pricing queen about this yesterday. had made the switch. I think it's similar. Like, you start out as a trader and then you switch to a company when you hit a certain or revenue. So
Yeah.
the way it was, not an accountant, but the way it was explained to me by my accountants is once you hit $250,000 in revenue, it's beneficial to make that switch, which of course is a nightmare and nothing's easy to do things. So that's why I hired them to do that. And I believe someone else asked earlier if I use a bookkeeping software. I use QuickBooks. There's a million different platforms out there. They're all, I'm pretty sure, on the same level. But I use QuickBooks, but I just like have my bank account connected to it. I don't actually go in there and do anything. My accounting firm also handles bookkeeping, and they also handle my financial planning.
Yeah, that sounds really helpful. Yeah, I moved to a super easy accounting software now that I'm traveling. It's called Henry, HNRY, guys, here in Australia. I find it super useful because I can directly take a photo of all the expenses. So because I'm officially touring like full time, every cent that I spend on the road is tax deductible, and it's so good. Like even like food and meals out, or if we decide to stay in a place overnight. So that was really handy, and I can straight away like submit those, and I send invoices through it. And the way it works is like when my client pays me, the software like filtrates that money, deducts straight away the tax, pays it, and only pays me out with money that is just mine. And at the end of the financial year, which just happened here in Australia, I didn't have to do anything other than review and say, yep, that looks cool. Thank you. Give me all my money back, like for the tax return. So that was super straightforward. They do take 1% up to $1,500 a month, which here in Australia, if you were to pay for a bookkeeper and an accountant, you will be already paying more than that a year. So I thought for now it works. If our finances get any more complicated than that in the future, I will look at a bookkeeper. So you have a bookkeeper and an accountant. Do you also have like assistants?
I just hire contractors to help me install murals. But I don't have anyone working with me full time.
Okay. Was it hard to find people that you trust working for you and your brand?
Yeah. It's the same as anything. You have a few failed experiences. Like one time I had someone paint a mural for me. I was not on site, and the client called me and was unhappy with the mural looking see-through, and I didn't believe the client. I was like, there's no way. And they insisted. So then I went to the job site after the mural was supposed to be done, and I'm like, wow, yeah, the person I hired to paint this for me did a shitty job. So I end up having to go clean up the mess and paint some more coats on the white. So yeah, you learn stuff like that, and it's all, a learning process. So now, like, if I have someone installing a mural for me when I'm not there, I have them send multiple photos, and like I have a clear indication of like, this is this level of standard that I expect. But yeah, most projects I am there on site now, so it's like it's pretty easy to monitor.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I guess I never even thought of hiring someone and having it out there representing me without me there. That sounds terrifying.
It is scary.
I am a control freak. I everywhere I go, because I get so many leads and I don't get to go through all of them. A lot of people, I always recommend local artists. So I try to connect with local artists anywhere I go. And the ones that they do want to meet me, usually have a great time. If I can, I hire them on my jobs. But what I try to do, if they are at that, level, or if their style is it's good enough, then I will just give them the leads. I don't feel bad about it because once again, I know how much work there is around. But I never thought, I don't know, I never thought of like hiring them under like my name and deploying them. I think because probably my brand right now is very, very personal. Like a lot of time I suggest, hey, I have this great local artist, I'm leaving town tomorrow, but he's super keen, and people will be like, "Oh no, I really wanted to be part of your 100 mural
Yeah.
project," and I'm like, "Damn it!" I I said that there's gonna be like a book at the end of it and stuff, so people are like, "Ooh, I want to be in the book. I want to be in the
Yeah.
media," and I'm like, "Oh." So, that's a bit tricky, but eventually I will settle down somewhere, and I'm actually so excited to try different outreach ways once I'm permanent
Yeah.
somewhere. I feel like I have so many different things that I want to try out to get clients and definitely build more on the email database. This was so helpful. Thank you for letting me pick your brain. We went a
Yeah.
bit over time. I'm trying to keep those to 30 minutes, but there is no way two artists can talk for 30 minutes. Like I can keep going on forever. But I'll let you go to your drinks, and I hope to stay in touch. I really, really am a big fan. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the time
Thank
today.
you. Likewise. Yeah. Congratulations on making it to, well, past halfway. When are you
Yeah.
thinking that you'll hit 100?
So I'm giving myself another year. However, like murals are getting bigger and bigger. Like I'm just about to paint these two tanks that I'm gonna have to count as one mural each, but it's gonna take me like a whole month. So I'm gonna be a bit behind. These are gonna be numbers 60 and 61.
Yay.
And yeah, it's super exciting. I still have a couple of states that I haven't visited, where I really want to like drop my pin with the
Mhm.
murals. But my husband just got like some very good opportunities as well. So we don't know if we're gonna like stay here a bit longer. It's hard to make such a big plan when you live really day by day
Right.
almost. So yeah, but I love this lifestyle. I'm not saying I want to do it forever, but like as women, sometimes we have to consider like when we're gonna have time for pregnancy and being a mother, and it is a little bit unfair that we have to plan for it, right? Like we have to plan to physically stop and create a life
Well,
inside of us. And
yeah.
I
That's something
I know.
I'd be curious about how you handle that, and we should keep in touch because it's something that I'm thinking about, and that's where the having someone paint for you when you design
Comes in
it
handy.
is going to be crucial.
But that's part of the reason I decided to start like the second side of the business, which is the teaching. I was like, look, I'm
Mhm.
good at teaching. I'm a very good supporter. Like I'm the biggest fan of my students and artists, and I feel like that would be beneficial. However, I can ask you probably that, like, is your that side of the business, the teaching and mentoring, um, a big chunk of your revenue, or is just like the side thing? Like for me right now, I would
Yeah.
probably say it doesn't even make 10% of
Yeah.
my monthly like
Yeah.
income. And I don't know if I can turn it into something like sustainable enough. Like it would never match the murals. Um, but is it still worth to keep doing?
I like having diversified income, and exactly for that reason, like if I decide to have children someday, I can possibly shift to being like only a teacher for at least a certain period of time.
Much so.
Yeah, so but I agree, it's less than 10% of my monthly income. So,
Yeah, like
but
I know a lot of people.
that could be
Uh,
because we're both doing outreach for murals. We're not doing outreach for coaching.
so true, so true. I've been trying to be a bit better at it. I wanna. So that's it. I feel like I come from a very poor family,
Mhm.
and I'm from Poland. I grew up in Italy, and I was raised with a bit of a scarcity mentality, and I think that's why I don't want to become a mom until I have it a little bit more figured out. I want to feel really secure. I don't want to. I have a wonderful husband. He's super supportive. He has amazing jobs. He can find jobs very easily, but I don't want to have that feeling that I'm fully relying on him and that that if something happens to him, then we all screwed. Like I love the idea of having passive income. I love the idea of having things set up within my business that I can keep going. So at least I don't even go out of my mind. I don't know. The thing that scares me the most about becoming a mom and being pregnant is just completely losing touch with my passion and not having time for it. And I think by mentoring others, I will leave the excitement through their eyes and through their jobs. And I think that will keep me going at least for that time. But I followed Andrea Ahad. I was on her podcast the other day on the Artist Academy podcast, and I followed her through her pregnancy, and she painted almost until she popped. Like, I was so impressed. And I think I followed another muralist recently. Oh, we have Claire Foxton here in Australia that has a big belly, and she was working on a big project not that long ago. So there's definitely ways to still do it. Obviously very safely. I would never climb a ladder or, like not wear a mask probably when pregnant. But I feel like we never know how the pregnancy is going to go. I also know women that pretty much have to do most of the pregnancy lying in bed, or we're vomiting every 2 seconds. So I need to kind of, are you worried about that stuff? Or?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Someone who's been through this, please put a class together for us how to do it. But yeah, and it's interesting because it's like we're in the same age group, so I feel like a lot of my peers, all these amazing female artists, were all like, not all of us, but a lot of us are going to be getting pregnant or have already gone through it. So I just think, yeah, there needs to be like a blog on how to be a muralist postpartum.
Postpartum, oh, totally, Andrea, if you listen to this, get on it. I also think like it's the reason I got so good at business and the industry, I suppose, so quickly. Like, everyone was like, oh, it's gonna take years. And I'm like, I don't have years. I want to be where I am now. I have 2 years. Like when we started the van journey, that was the same, right? Like we decided to give up a house to be mobile, and I know this is not sustainable. We have to stop doing that if I want to be comfortably pregnant potentially. So we gave ourselves this, initially was a year to, give our businesses a go on the road and don't work for anybody else and just really enjoy each other. And now it's becoming 2 years, which is good because I committed to the 100 mural nomad, but I am super motivated by the fact that after that I want to be a mom. And I think nothing gets you from A to B as a woman that is planning for that for that day. And that's why like the coaching, I started the coaching side of my business, and that's why like I'm painting so many murals, because I know that I'm gonna be having to stop and I don't want to fall behind. So I think if I get ahead a little bit now, then I'm going to be starting from already like a privileged position. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but
Yeah,
I'm definitely
we create so many like, yeah, different goals and tricks in our brain to try to rationalize things. But I think you will be just fine. And yeah, and I'm going to be fine. We're all going to be fine.
We're all going to be fine. We're going to have photos with matching like big bellies and rollers, and it's going to be so cute. I look forward to that. Beautiful days ahead. That's so exciting. Well, once again, I could talk to you for hours and hours, but I have to go find the access to my height access machine, which is currently held hostage in a depot, and I need to get it out of there and start priming my water tanks. But I am so excited to hear if you're gonna find yourself a water tank, and that would be so cool. Yeah, well, Phoebe,
I'm excited to see what you create, and good luck with that.
Thank you so much. This has been lovely. I'll try to do all the fixing of this episode and upload it as soon as possible. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. There's been so many of you. And bye bye.